conscious spiritual growth was very, very full at that time. You were very in tune with all of that, but your father saw that as a weakness. He saw that you were not a man, because you were so kind to the animals, and you were so caring of the plants, and you didn't want to destroy nature, and he was there trapping and making that his livelihood, and you were too tender-hearted to see the animals trapped and sold for hats. The men's hats that they wore in those days used beaver fur, and it bothered you greatly because you were very tender-hearted. So he would play pranks on you to make you a man, to grow you up and toughen you, and so that you could grow up, and of course he was concerned that you would be able to sustain yourself. If you lived in the woods and you couldn't make a living, what were you to do with your life? And in those days, that was one of the very lucrative ways to make a living. So he would put you into situations out in the woods and scare the dickens out of you. And so you were frightened, and you were not of the nature to stand up and say, I'm not going to be frightened anymore. I have the ability to handle this. It was kind of like an Indian going into a growing up where they go out have to spend time and find who they are and mature through the quest that they're on. Only you couldn't handle it.
Sort of initiation?
Yeah, like an initiation, exactly. And you couldn't deal with that because your heart was not in it. You weren't that kind of a child, and you just didn't feel that that's was right. So it was a very strong struggle for you. And again, our energies bring us into the families that will provide the same energy for us to learn and outgrow from what we couldn't do before. And so, did you have some childhood experiences where you found it very hard to stand up for yourself?
Yes.
Yes. And they're saying now is the time to heal that and know that those people that bullied you, that's one way to put it, were actually more scared than you were, and not to give away your power to them. If they get angry, they're bullying you. They're wanting you to buckle down to their fears so you'll do what they want you to do, and to understand that that's their insecurity and their fear. It has nothing to do with you, and not to buy into that game and give away your power in that game anymore. You have all the power of God within you. You can ask for help anytime. Your angels are always with you. Your guides are with you. You have an entourage, Aki. Do you realize that?
I'm realizing more and more, yes.
Okay, so it is time to say, I have a spiritual family that sustains me and helps me in all things, and that it's time to say, I can be myself and express myself, and I do not have to react to others' intimidation or bullying of me. I can express myself as I need to. And the trick is, when you change again from being at effect, when you change to take your power back, you become empowered. And the results, those people will leave if they can't bully you. If you walk away and say, I'm not going to participate in this game anymore, they're going to find somebody else that will, and they'll leave you alone. So as you take back your power and know that you always have been a whole person, and you are a good person, and that they're just, it's a game they've been playing with you, and you can give it up today. How does that sound?
Great.
All right.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome, and that's exactly what St. Germain's going to talk about, is some of these things we've been discussing, is those parts of our energy that need to be healed today, so we can come back into wholeness. And Mac, we have not missed you. Matt, you are giving away your energy to the government in various ways, as you just expressed. And that is part of where your healing needs to go into, is to look at that, is where did that come from? You know, you had one experience where the IRS was on your case and the building burned, so you didn't even have to go through the actual investigation as such. You were let off the hook, right?
That's correct.
So where does this fear come from, when we already stepped in one time so that you didn't have to go through the fear? Where do you have an idea? Is there something in your childhood that you remember that the government did something that scared the dickens out of you?
No, it's just times throughout the history of this country that the government has turned its armed forces against the people. It's against the Constitution, but it has happened.
I know
And
it
now
has.
I see more of that. They're not using the army, but they're using these would-be accountants and so on as combatants from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, and they're taking lives
Right.
over insignificant small things.
I know what you're saying. They literally, this organization you're talking about did a horrendous trip down in Oregon recently. They went into a plant that makes supplements. They were following all the rules of the FDA, and they were doing everything right. They tried to comply with all the requests, and they came in and took all the paperwork, all the whatever, locked them up, took all their product, and this outfit was totally innocent. So I know what you're saying. And it was an extremely brutal takeover of nothing that was actually even wrong. So that fear, your human fear, is what's surfacing. What you need to look at is your spiritual life. And that spiritually, you have God in your life, like more than many people have let God into their lives. Why do you not cling to God instead of that fear?
My concern to a large extent, John, is I realize that I seem to be in the center of a hurricane. I do have this calmness about me, but I sorrow and concerned about others who these bureaus are abusing. I just don't like the injustice of it. But then again, maybe they're just living out part of their karma. I don't know.
I think you just answered your question. It's kind of similar to Aki's situation. You're allowing it to bully you rather than say, I have God's power inside of me. I am a child of God, and all things are possible. And I, with God, will handle what I need to take care of, and other people are taking care of their own karmic responsibilities, and you don't know what they are. And to try to rescue others or interfere with the lessons they need is really interfering with your own, isn't it?
It could be. I do have what possibly is a karmic situation that's causing problems in this life. Maybe I could ask you about this.
You certainly may.
For several years, I've had a pain in the lower abdomen. I've been able to keep the pain under control, but I have not been able to remove it. In a healing session with Marilyn, she told me that this was possibly the result of a puncture wound that I received from a knife or a sword or some type of a weapon in a previous life, and that I needed to forgive the person who did it. And I've been trying to do that. I thought I had done this. But I think this thing is manifested in this life as a stone, either a kidney stone or a gallstone, and about a week or 10 days ago, that stone moved, and the pain was excruciating. I'm wondering if I have a situation there where I should seek medical help to have that stone removed or broken up to pass it. If it is a stone, can you address that?
Well, I can see the stone, and I would like to make a suggestion to start drinking unfiltered apple juice to dissolve it.
That
Now,
sounds pretty easy. I'll certainly try that.
if that does not work, then I would then seek some medical help. But I believe if you start drinking, not the unfiltered, is the unpasteurized apple cider. Another thing, there is also, this might sound strange to drink them you wouldn't maybe want to drink them together, but there is unfiltered apple cider, not just apple. The first one is apple juice, but this is apple cider unfiltered, and they're both organic, or can be organic. You probably can get them at stores that have organic foods. And also, I think what it would do is the unfiltered apple cider will help to alkalize your system, and the unfiltered apple juice will help to dissolve the stone. And I think the combination would be very helpful. I would just go ahead and drink the apple juice as you feel comfortable drinking it, but the unfiltered apple cider, you might drink a tablespoon mixed in water a day. You could add a little honey to it to sweeten it, especially if you can get some organic honey, that would be even better. But a tea of the organic apple cider with some honey, a tablespoon of each, and drink it as a tea each day. I think the combination would be very helpful.
I can try that, John. The one concern I have is if a stone starts to reduce in size, it moves again. Whew. One disadvantage of having a body is pain.
Well, I would suggest you ask God to remove the pain as it's going through its readjusting of changing size and dissolving, and ask God to replace it with the most benevolent outcome possible. You see, you might have some pain, but it hopefully doesn't have to be excruciating.
I'll certainly try it, John. Thank you.
Yeah, ask for the most benevolent outcome of the changes that are going on. So hopefully it will reduce the severity.
That'll be my prayer.
Yes.
Thank you, John.
You're so welcome. And I hope that you all have found that these are part of your emotional being, and St. Germain would like to come in and explain this further to you. So I will take my absence, and I'm so glad you were here today, and I hope that the rest of your day goes very well.
John?
Yes.
Ask Martha how long Marilyn should stay in trance. She's got about another 20 minutes to make an hour.
Oh my, we'll have to move right along. Why don't you give her half an hour more, and we'll try to be through by then.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I am St. Germain,
Welcome.
and I am so glad you are here today, and we are talking about energy. If you've noticed, karma is part of your energy, and also your negative energy that needs to be resolved in this lifetime that comes in from your scripts. So you have karma and you have your current things you're resolving. Together they're all part of your energy field. And you attracted those experiences because the energy needed to be healed and balanced. And so in balancing the negative with the positive, and that's karma has a lot to do with balancing. That's why past life regression is so valuable. to balance that energy. And you people are all in the last